To see the elements of theater come to life on stage is an experience that one may never forget. The scenery, lights, costumes, and sound all come together to physically enhance a presence. But what about a supernatural presence? It seems like every good theater has a ghost, and in Hollywood, they have an all-access pass. Theaters all over America play host to a great number of ghosts that range from the precocious to the frightening, and even the tragic. Hollyweird Paranormal takes you down Hollywood Blvd, past the Walk of Fame, and into the suburbs of Pasadena, in episode 15 of famous haunted Hollywood theaters. So ladies and gentlemen, it's 10 minutes till showtime. Make sure you make your way to your seats, and please, don't mind the spirits. You never know, you might end up sitting next to one. So sit back and relax, and enjoy the show.
Movies are bombing all over the country. They are posing as movies you already know. They may be in your theaters, your neighbor's home, or even your own.
Why are you doing that voice?
I don't know. I thought it made me sound cool.
It doesn't.
I'm Jason Bishop, host of the Invasion of the Remake podcast, with co-hosts Sam Stepanenko and Trish Coughlin. Join us each week as we rotate talking about your favorite films and their not-so-favorite remakes.
We'll also dig deep to find forgotten films that we think are more worthy of remaking, complete with our own fantasy casting.
You can get all 130 episodes and counting on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Google Play Music, TuneIn, Radio, Player FM, and all the best podcast providers, even
Frickin' YouTube.
For the low, low price of absolutely nothing. Join the invasion. Subscribe today.
Or we'll blow up your planet.
Hey guys.
Hello.
Welcome back. We missed you so much.
Where have you been?
I know. It's only been a millisecond, hasn't it? It is hot. It's warm.
Mm-hmm.
I feel very warm.
Yeah.
It's about to get really hot in LA.
I keep telling myself, because we had a skosh of rain this winter.
Just a skosh.
That this will be a mild summer. No. Idiot. You are fooled.
It gets hotter towards the end of July or in midst of July, and then of course August is unbearable.
Well, we've got June gloom, which I knew was always that's not real, but it really is.
No, it's real. I still wear
60,
sweaters.
Yeah, 60s and cloudy all of June. And you're this is kind of weird. Isn't this summer?
Right.
And then you get to July and it's oh, you wanted summer? You're going to get summer. No, please. It's horrible.
It is horrible. I'm wearing my chanclas, my sandals.
Yes.
Having this debate in my head, should I go out naked? No.
The problem is that it's not only that it's just hot, but we're stuck with this now until November.
Yeah.
Happy Thanksgiving. You're going to be sweating as much as that turkey. Good luck. Good
Plus,
luck.
we live in the valley, a.k.a. the desert, a.k.a. Porn Valley.
Yeah. I feel like everyone's are you complaining about how nice it is? This is, humble brag. La, la, la.
All right, guys, so we're going to be talking about famous, haunted Hollywood theaters. Ooh, Bryce is I'm okay with this.
Yeah, just prepare for a lot of squealing into the microphone, as per usual.
Season 1, we gave you famous haunted Hollywood apartments.
Yes.
So this season,
Sure.
we decided to give you famous haunted Hollywood theater. So real quickly, grab your fanny packs, grab some singles,
Ooh.
make sure you're wearing comfortable shoes because you're going to take a walk with us down Hollywood Boulevard.
Yes.
And then we're going to catch an Uber really soon to go to Pasadena.
Love it.
Love it? All right, so we're going to start with the first theater, the PANTAGES.
Yes.
PANTAGES, which is off of Hollywood Boulevard, is our first stop, guys, is located off of 6233 Hollywood Boulevard, and the Pantages was built by Alexander Pantages, and the theater opened its doors in June of 1930, hosting some of the best live shows around the theater. Is popular today as it was in recent tours, and we've had tours such as Kinky Boots, Aladdin, and our favorite Hamilton.
Yes, I had season tickets last year to the Pantages, and it was
lucky.
the best birthday gift. Like,
oh my god, what shows did you see?
Everything. The only one I didn't see was An American in Paris because I was out of town.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was amazing.
I always wanted to go see a show, but I don't have the $800 to shell out for
our
such
seats,
a performance.
Yeah, our seats were very far in the back. And the only reason that we did the season pass was to get Hamilton tickets, essentially. Because instead of having to wait for Hamilton tickets to go on sale and like hope that you get them and pay like $1,200, we paid, I think it was $600 or $400 to $600, I forget which number is in my head, for the whole season.
Oh, wow.
Guaranteed tickets, the same seats for every show that you go see. Basically, like, have a night. So, like, the third Sunday of every show is your night. And then you got to see, like, other fun shows that, like, I definitely wouldn't have gone and seen on my own. Mm-hmm. So it was, like, really fun. And the Pantages is beautiful.
It is gorgeous. I've been inside of
it.
I've been inside because we have kind of a mutual friend now. Remember Nick? Because he used to work there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I remember him telling me crazy stories.
Yeah.
Which is why this is our first stop.
I love it. I mean, let's just start with the fact that all theaters are haunted. Like, I believe that in my heart of hearts. Like,
oh, yeah.
Actors like attention, and that doesn't stop when we die. Like, we need attention. So, like, of course we haunt theaters. Like, of course.
Before we go into the Pantages Theater, do you have a ghost story of your own in a theater that you worked in or acted in? Real quickly, what was it?
I have several. The theater that I worked in Indiana was super haunted.
Now, what theater is that? Because we have a lot of listeners from Indiana.
Yes. So if anyone's in the Warsaw area, this is like such free promo. That's fine. The Wagon Wheel Theater is in Warsaw, Indiana, and it is right off I-30, and it is the best little theater. Obviously, I'm super biased, but it is theater in the round. It's right in the heart of, like, downtown Warsaw, or not downtown, but just, like, right in the cute little area. And it's such a beautiful, amazing theater. They have, like, the best shows. I was always so honored to, like, work there because they, like, hire a lot of people from Chicago. So it's, like, very high quality summer rep
Chicago
theater.
got some dope theater.
Yeah.
Goodman Theater. I have friends that work there. Amazing stuff.
So if you ever, like, have a chance, they have, like, concert series that go through there. A lot of, like, bluegrass and country singers go through there.
Cool.
And then during the summer, they have their summer stock, which is always, like, super high caliber. Yeah, love it, right? And so when we were working there, there were several instances of just, like, kind of general, like, type spirituality. And then every year they do a holiday show. And one year the director, he was, like, the artistic director, he died very suddenly, like, days before we opened.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was really sad. Roy Hines, he was, like, a pillar of the theater community, and he was such a sweet and crazy man all at the same time, like, so supportive, and, like, if he gave you a compliment, like, you knew he meant it because he was so crazy all the other times. And so he died, and it, like, really rocked the theater and the community in general. And we all kind of rallied together to make sure that the show still got put up for the holidays.
Yeah.
And several people, myself included, saw him after he had passed throughout the theater.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And
are you sure he didn't have a twin brother?
No, I'm very sure.
Okay.
Yes, I can trust. I checked. And then there were other, like, more general, like, doors opening and shutting and lights going off and on and things like that. But right after he died, a lot of people saw him.
Oh, wow.
Sort of doing things that were, like, very typical gestures of his, like checking the set in, like, this really specific way. And, like, being, like, hunched over, like, a set of lights that he would, like, always check. So, like, kind of doing these things that he would have been doing had he not died anyway.
Yeah.
So it was, like, in some ways very terrifying because you're just like, well, when am I going to see Roy, like, just pop up? But also very, like, healing in a way to like see him sort of still watching over the show as we like tried to move on in his honor. So
maybe he was just showing himself to people that really didn't heal from his passing.
Yeah, I mean, it was so sudden and so sort of like there was so much guilt wrapped up in it because people had been out with him that night, and then he like went back to the hotel and he was alone, and there's a lot of guilt kind of in there. So I think it was like...
Those are things you can't control.
I know. And it was like, obviously, I was terrified because I don't want to see a ghost. But I think for most people...
I'm sure with a presence like his, it was like very, healing.
Yes.
Yeah, it was very, positive.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Yeah. But it's for sure haunted.
Wow. So that is your, was that your first full body? No, that wasn't your first full body apparition that you witnessed.
That was the first... Something that that was a person that I knew, so that I couldn't like explain it away.
Yeah.
Because I think anytime you see like a demon or a ghost or anything like that that's like kind of more nebulous, you can kind of explain it away a little easier. Like, well, I must have just eaten something, or I must have been like tricked by the light, or whatever it may be. The way that I saw Roy and the way that people were describing him, it was like crystal clear, as easily as I can see you. It wasn't like he was even like see-through or shiny or like ghost misty. Like, yeah, he was just... It was Roy in his jeans and his shirt and his New York cap. Like, aww. Yeah, so really like crystal clear, definitive, like, oh shit, that's a person that like... And when I saw him, I did say like out loud, like in shock, like, Roy, you can't be here. That was like my gut reaction because I like saw him. Yeah, and then it wasn't like he like faded away into the light. It was just like he was there and then he wasn't. Just like,
wow,
like
that's so crazy.
So
wow,
yeah. But there is like the tradition of a theater having a ghost light because all theaters are like kind of haunted. So.
They are. They always play host. That's why I mentioned in the intro. Like, there's this thing with theaters playing host to ghost that range in every sort of caliber, whether it's like the precocious, the frightening, the tragic. The founder who goes back there and is working there even in his afterlife, and we will learn more about this in these theaters.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Host to ghost.
Yeah.
Love that.
Thank you for sharing.
Yeah,
that's a really cool story. I have mine. If you want to listen to it, it's on Frights Out, Lights Out.
Love it.
I submitted my own theater ghost story to them, so take a listen. It's really cool, guys. But yeah, mine was I was working in a summer stock theater.
It's always summer stock.
In university, I was assisting this costume designer for summer stock shows. We were doing Camelot and we were building costumes. And I was in the front foyer because we had no room. When you're building medieval costumes, you need all this table space. And in the corner of my eye, I just kept on seeing like what looked like a figure of a man. And I thought it was the artistic director, and he was, because I saw him go up the stairs, so I thought maybe he came back down, but he was just staring at me. And I was like, why is he staring at me? And I turned around and he wasn't there. No. And then I remember turning my back at the staircase at one point when I was in the front foyer, and then I see the artistic director coming down, and I just asked him, hey, were you just downstairs a moment ago? He's like, no, I just came out of a meeting. Yeah, and then like Marie, this other assistant who joined me in the front foyer, like noticed that I kind of looked shook, and she asked me, what's going on? And I told her, I when I started cutting fabric in this front foyer, I felt like I was being watched.
No.
And I kept on seeing this outline of a man in black with a black mustache. And she said, black hair? Yes. Oh, yeah, I've seen him.
No.
And
no,
Marie. And she's like very like, she's a mom. She wouldn't make up something like this. And she even mentioned to me before that she has that special veil, that special vision. So I go back into the theater. We're eating, no, not in the theater, the costume shop. We're done cutting, and we're having lunch. And Marie then tells the ladies, oh, Tammy saw Bob. I'm like, what the Marie, now there's a name?
Don't name them. No.
Oh, you saw Bob. So everybody's like, oh, you saw Bob, because everyone has worked in summer stock for so long, and this was my first time, like, who is Bob? And right after I asked that question, I believe it was the props director came in, because she was joining us for lunch. You're like getting so nervous.
I just feel like I could plug myself in this story because I've heard this is so summer stock.
This
you
is
know
so
what I mean?
summer stock.
Yeah,
so
like,
the props designer or director comes in, and then Charlotte, who is our designer, tells her, "Oh yeah, Tammy saw Bob." Oh, it was like this initiation.
yeah, it's like a rite of passage.
It is.
I love it.
And she's like, "Oh, you saw Bob?" And I said, "Yeah." So who's Bob? Who is this Bob? And then she goes on to tell me that Bob was the lighting designer. He had spent many, many years at the school, especially with summer stock. He was her mentor. Aww. And he passed when she went into the master's program at this school. And this was a school in New Orleans, guys. So she goes on and tell me that, she took it really hard too because he was her mentor. I think he died of a heart attack or he had cancer. No, he had cancer. He died of cancer and it took him quickly.
Wow.
And so she leaves the city. She goes off and does her work. She comes back a few years later and she's working in the props room, which is right next to the lighting booth.
Wow.
And she said that people had crazy stories of the lighting booth, and that she would hear Bob's voice, that Bob would be in constant communication. And at first she would be freaked out, but then she realized, no, Bob is like looking out for me. There are times where she would be looking for a tool and she's like, where's that Dremel? Dremel will fall down to the ground. Oh, here it is.
Whoa.
Thanks, Bob. Yeah, that's how crazy it was. And then she's like, yeah, Bob was always in black because that was his theater uniform.
Tech, yeah.
That's tech. And I had said, did he have like a black mustache and black? And then before I could even fucking finish, black hair? Yeah, that's Bob. You saw Bob.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God.
I freaked out. I was confused, but I was excited, but confused because I really didn't see a full body. I just could see it in the side, like on my peripheral. Like I was just like, if I turned, it was gone. But I felt like someone was watching me. Cut this fabric.
Oh.
Yeah.
Bless.
All right, guys, so let's head into the Pantages, all right? Because this is a crazy theater. So the Pantages theater circuit had been built on vaudeville, and the new Hollywood theater programmed first-run movies alternating through the day with the real-life vaudeville acts for the first 2 years. So you can watch a movie, and then in the break of the movie, during intermission, you'll get these, like, live performances.
Love it.
But like other theaters during the Great Depression, it was forced to economize and therefore operated primarily as a movie theater. Though live entertainment was presented occasionally, Alexander Pantages sold the Hollywood landmark in 1932 to Fox West Coast Theaters. Now in 1949, Howard Hughes acquired the Hollywood Pantages for his RKO theater circuit and moved his personal offices to the building's second floor. From 1949 to 1959, the theater hosted the American Motion Picture Industry's annual Academy Award ceremonies.
Love.
So that's the thing, guys. Lots of people have reported seeing ghosts here, and one of the ghosts has even been heard singing through a microphone on stage. And of course, it's Howard Hughes.
Oh my God.
But he's not the one singing. Howard Hughes may not have died here, but it's reported that he was his happiest here. And there has been a lot of Howard Hughes sightings. Now, Howard Hughes, guys, was an American business magnate, investor, record-setting pilot, film director, and philanthropist, known during his lifetime as one of the most financially successful individuals in the world. Not to mention, he was kind of a fuckboy of Hollywood.
Yes.
Let's be real. He was the fuckboy of Hollywood.
Sure.
His past arm candies and or girlfriends or hookups included Rita Hayworth, Katharine Hepburn, Ava Gardner, and much, much more. There were a lot more.
Bless.
He is definitely, depicted by Leonardo DiCaprio in the movie The Aviator. Yes. So his apparition was seen one day by a workman when the building was being renovated. Apparently, he was seen to walk over the scaffolding and onto the balcony. When the workman asked Hughes what he wanted, he just vanished into thin air.
Ew.
Hughes has been seen on many occasions wearing his smart suit. He's seen to be roaming around the area where his old office once was. So Hughes' spirit is not only seen, but he's also very much felt. Many of the staff here report of feeling a gush of cold air whiz right past them when they're in the office, even when the air conditioner isn't on.
Ugh.
Occasionally, the smell of cigar smoke is smelt all around, as well as unexplained banging noises like someone is opening and closing desk drawers.
Oh my God.
If I was there and the banging was happening, it's like, Howard, do you need help looking for a number 2 pencil?
Yeah.
Like,
what can I get you?
What can I get you?
What can I get you, Mr. Hughes? Walking around in my little yeah.
Oops, I dropped my paper.
Yes.
But it isn't Hughes's ghostly voice that has been heard over the mic. A lady spirit keeps Hughes's company. It seems like after life, he has to have like a girl on his arm.
Sure.
When it's quiet and empty, the staff often hear a lady singing, primarily from the stage area. There was a report of the staff setting up the stage and mics one evening before a show. They were setting up the stage for a live performance, and then they heard what sounded like a woman singing through the mics. And at first they thought it was the sound guy playing a track, and they told him, hey, can you turn on the sound? And he said, look, the only things that are on are the mics and the lights in here. So there was no explanation for who or what was singing through the mics, but it sounded crystal clear, like a woman singing. So it appears that this woman is a lady spirit that is known as the Lady in Gray.
Love it.
And she is a kind soul, and there have been times that she has been seen by staff workers and other patrons. There is one account of a woman, a patron, who was heading into the theater. She was running a little late for the performances, and before she can open the door to the theater door opened, and she saw a woman who looked, and I quote, not of this era.
Gasp.
In a gray
God.
dress. The woman walked into the theater, and when she turned around to say thank you to the woman dressed in gray, it turned out that she disappeared right before her.
No.
Yeah. I remember Nick telling me a story about this, but he was also telling me that he was in the theater one evening, he was cleaning up, and he saw what looked like a gray mist in one of the seats.
Whoa.
Yeah, he was freaked out about it. That's why I was like, we got to do something like this. We got to do an episode on haunted theaters. All right, guys, so we're going to leave the Pantages.
Sure.
Get ready. We're going to walk further down Hollywood Boulevard. On your left is Katsuya.
Ooh, yum.
Yum. It's overpriced Hollywood sushi. Yes.
The best kind.
I know, the best kind. Overpriced. Now we're going to walk towards 6433 Hollywood Boulevard. This is the Warner Pacific Theater.
Yes.
And it's, it's run down. It's closed off right now. So this theater opened its doors April 26 of 1928. So Warner Brothers production started here. It started off of Hollywood Boulevard, and it started back in 1923 by 4 Warner brothers, Sam, Albert, Harry, and Jack Warner. So the brothers risked all they had and threw all their money, blood, sweat, and tears into this theater. Sam in particular was the driving force ahead and worked longer hours, and he was the hardest worker, worked harder than anybody else to get this theater up and running. So the doors finally opened to the showing of The Jazz Singer, but sadly, Sam was unable to see his dream come true. You see, he died just the day before the opening. I know. So Sam had worked himself that hard that he had given himself cerebral hemorrhage and died at the age of 40 years old.
Unfinished business.
You guys, this is why we needed a hiatus. This is why
yes.
self-care is so important. Right?
Yes.
You don't want to work yourself to death. So it turns out that Sam was just as determined and hardworking in death as he was in life. He wasn't going to let the fact that him being dead stop him from being present at the grand opening of his theater, nor was he ever going to leave the theater. So the staff that had worked there in the office are used to seeing chairs moving back and forth by themselves.
Sure, who wouldn't be used to that? Okay.
This chair is not supposed to be here. It's supposed to be stationed at an angle at this point.
My gosh.
I can imagine him doing that. And the elevator randomly going up and down, as well as knocking on doors and footsteps. The security guards at one point during the 50s and 60s were very familiar with Sam. They often see the ghost of Sam walking around the lobby, pushing the button for the elevator, waiting for it, then climb in and go up a level. Even the public have reported seeing the ghost of Sam walking by the lobby right in the place his brothers dedicated a plaque and hung it on the wall in his honor. I know. So the theater is currently vacant and closed off today. As you guys can see, I wouldn't be surprised if a strip club or maybe a nightclub would be built in its place. That's what happens to Hollywood landmarks. All right, guys. So we're going to continue our walk down some more. Bryce, be careful. Don't step in that puddle. It's not water.
Oh, it never is.
It never is. So we're going to hit the Vogue Theater. Ooh. This is off of Hollywood Boulevard. This is off of 6675 Hollywood Boulevard. This theater opened its doors in 1935. Back in the 1800s, the Vogue Theater sat beside Prospect Elementary School, which was just 4 rooms.
Oh.
This is a sad story.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
In Hollywood, when is it ever a good one?
I mean, that is too real.
All right, so here's the story.
Mm-hmm.
A fire broke out in 1901, and sadly 25 children
Oh, my God.
and the teacher, Miss Elizabeth, perished in the burning building.
Oh, my God.
It's a horrible story. So this school was right next to the theater, but the theater was unaffected and still continued to host shows after this tragedy. This is just reports. Over 4,000 people have claimed to have had a paranormal experience here when the theater was
God.
open. It's easy to see why the building was unoccupied during the 80s and 90s. So here's the deal. A whole audience, this is just a claim, a whole audience of 600 people one night before a performance, they all claim to have seen a little girl ghost just skip across the stage and then just disappear.
Oh, my God.
This was speculation. So in 1997, a parapsychologist by the name of Dr. Larry Mons took over the closed building to house offices for his team that was the International Society of Paranormal Research.
Mm-hmm.
So for 4 years, they were there in that building, but before he bought it, he was unaware that the building was haunted.
Should have done better research.
Mons soon realized that it was indeed haunted and discovered that the ghosts were of 6 of the children that died in the fire, along with their teacher and 2 other adult ghosts. Yeah. So Fritz is one of the ghosts, the theater's old projectionist who's known to tinker around the movie reel when showings were on. Danny is the other ghost who died of a drug overdose here in the 70s.
Danny.
And his ghostly apparition was often seen around the theater. Today, the theater is now a dance performance club called the Supper Club.
No.
That's it.
No.
You've been there too?
So many times. No. Oh, my God. No.
I'm surprised you didn't remember when we were right in front of this theater, Bryce.
Look, I barely remember any of my times there, so...
I remember a lot of the fights that would occur in the parking lot. A lot of the weave, the nails, the shoes.
It's not classy. Let's just
It is
start
not a
there.
classy club,
Oh
but it looks
my God.
beautiful inside.
Sure.
It is gorgeous inside, so it's called the Supper Club. The creepiest.
Oh, no.
I'm going to tell you this. Have you used the bathrooms in there?
Look, I do this thing where... Look, confession.
It's going to get good, but...
Oh, God, I sound like such an alcoholic. I go to clubs and then I don't remember them, and then I go back in and I'm like, why am I having such aggressive deja vu? Yes. So, yes, I have used the restrooms at Supper Club, but it's been a long time and I don't remember.
Okay. All right. So the creepiest thing I found online while researching this club is that on the website Los Angeles Theaters, I think it's losangelestheater.blogspot.com.
Oh, sure.
You see pictures of the theater going through some serious renovations. All right, it's all on here, guys. I'm going to find that link so I could put it on our show notes.
Love it.
In one of the pictures, I think it was taken by the bathrooms, but you can clearly see what looks like 4 large orbs in the pics. And you know it's not dust because it's not seen in any of the other pictures of their progression shots.
Oh, my God.
You can. I'm going to post it on Instagram.
Yeah.
But it is...
That's crazy.
It's insane. You clearly see one ginormous orb. It's like they're like, hey, are you in line? You know, it's right there on the corridor in front of the men's and women's restrooms.
Look, if I've had to say it once, I've had to say it 1,000 times. Ghost, stop watching me pee. Thank you. Ugh.
I always feel like
Yes.
someone's watching me every time I try to pee. All right, so now we gotta walk some more, guys. On your left is Ripley's, believe it or not, and we're gonna cross the street on Hollywood and Highland. Now, guys, feel free to stop and take pictures with the Hollywood impersonators. I hope you brought some singles because they get a little antsy if you don't tip them, especially Batman. And ladies, be careful with Captain Jack Sparrow. He's a little touchy-feely. FYI.
I always feel so bad when I see like tourist families talking to the like street performers. I'm like, don't do it. Don't do it.
My mom
No.
Oh, let me tell you a quick story. My mom, when we first visited Hollywood before I moved here, my mom was desperate to find the Cinderella character. And I was like, why? God, one, they smell, and two, they're very aggressive.
Yeah.
And she was in the middle of taking pictures with this one family, and my mom, just like being my mom, she just interrupts her, and she's like, I want to take a picture with you. And the woman just turns around and aggressively tells her, one moment and it will be $5. And I'm like looking at my mom like, I would leave. I would freaking leave. I would just like, fuck you, bitch. Like, are you serious? But no, my mom was like destined to take a picture with her to show her grandchild that she took a picture with Cinderella.
All right. I just have to interject. Here's a little PSA from Uncle Bryce to our friendly listeners. If you come to Hollywood, first of all, give us a shout out. We'll say hey at Starbucks.
Hey.
Second of all, you are not obligated to give money to anybody on Hollywood Boulevard. They are not licensed by the city. They are not licensed by Hollywood. They are not a business. So if they hand you a CD, you don't owe them money. If they hand you merchandise, you don't owe them money. If they take your photo, you do not owe them money. Sure, if you want to tip them, if you want to give them some money, that is definitely your prerogative. I would recommend against it. But you do not owe anyone on Hollywood Boulevard anything. Like, the number of times that I'm, like, just trying to get to work, walking my way down the stars.
Because you would take the subway and it would stop in Hollywood and Highland. And, girl, you're brave.
I mean,
you're brave.
You have to just put on, like, look, if you are there to take pictures with the characters, to, like, see the stars, to go to Madame Tussauds, more power to you. I've been here long enough that I'm just trying to get to work. So, like, I got to put on, like, my battle face. I look mean. I walk with, like, a purpose. And they, for the most part, don't bother me because I try to, like, look as angry as possible. But
gotta work with the purpose.
Just like a tiny little PSA, there have been so many times where I've, like, seen these families and these people, you know, I get it. They're trying to make a living, too. We're all in the hustle. But they're, like, accosting these, like, unsuspecting tourists who are either very friendly and think that, like, you know, naively, I'll just, like, smile and be nice. Don't engage unless you were prepared for the whole ordeal. And if you are, that's great. If you want a photo, definitely more power to you. I'm not saying, like, don't talk to them or don't, like, engage with them, but just be aware that, like, if you take a picture with them, if you, like, take any of their merchandise, they're going to want money for that.
They
and they're
will
going to be
follow
aggressive.
you several city blocks.
So just, you know, be aware.
And
it's not a sponsored thing. So it's not like you're going to, like, the actual Madame Tussauds where you're, like, getting pictures of the wax.
Mm-hmm.
You're getting a picture with someone who, just like us, is in the hustle, in the struggle.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to want that paper.
They want $1, at least $1. Yeah.
And if you're aware of that, more power to you. I, having to see them every day, am just, like, not there for it. So just be aware of that. PSA over.
Thank you for this.
Yeah, I know.
Thank you for this TED Talk.
This little trigger, and that's, like, on my little soapbox.
It's so true. I was, like, so thrown off. I really wanted to throw something at Cinderella.
And that's miles. Honestly, I've seen way worse.
Well, there's been, like, you know, accounts of them, you know, getting into fights and being arrested with tourists and with each other. I mean, it's a battlefield out there.
It really is.
It is no bueno there, guys. So
come visit Hollywood.
Come visit Hollywood. I say, you know, it's good to see it once.
Yep.
But because we work in that area, it's not. I mean, it's like nothing but the smell of piss and weed in the air. It's really disgusting. Literally, watch watch where you're walking. That puddle of water. That's not a puddle of water. It's a puddle of piss. It is not what it used to be in the 40s.
No, God, no.
God, no. All right, guys. So we're heading to the most famous theater of them all. It's the Groman Chinese Theater. Yes. It's right next to Madame Tussauds. It's at 6925 Hollywood Boulevard. So this theater opened its doors in May of 1927 and was created by Sid Groman. So this was the last of his 4 theaters. So Sid planned something so unique and magnificent inside and out that would outshine all the other theaters in Los Angeles. So he and architect Raymond Kennedy chose a Chinese temple as inspiration and created a soaring 90-foot pagoda adorned with a 30-foot dragon ceremonial mask and topped with an ornate copper roof. But it is the forecourt that makes this the most famous movie theater in the world. That's where Grumman displayed the most ingenious idea: concrete blocks with the hand and footprints of famous movie stars.
Yes.
One of them being Grand Dame Marilyn Monroe.
Ooh, yes.
Oh, yes. But it seems as though Grumman never left the theater and stayed there in his afterlife. Now, I'm not going to go into detail about all the haunts because
Sure.
I came across this one story on creepyghoststories.com by a gentleman who took a tour of the theater that he would never, ever forget. So this story is going to include everything that is just, it makes up the perfect haunt of a theater. So here's his story. In the early summer of 1992, I received a private tour of the Chinese theater with a small group of historians. Our guide escorted us through the inner sanctum upstairs above the auditorium where Grumman's private office had a beautiful view of the forecourt. Down the hall, the original projection booth is now the Cathay Lounge, a private screening room where celebrities can slip in and out to watch a film unnoticed. Downstairs, we were shown the detailed lobby and the massive auditorium where Sid staged his famous live prologues before the movie, often with up to 200 actors in the cast. Today, a giant movie screen takes up most of the original stage. There's a small backstage area where they used it for storage, and our guide invited us to check it out. Backstage at Grumman's Chinese? I was in, the only one. I scrambled onto the stage, and behind the movie screen, I hoped to spot an incredible remnant of the past. Maybe a souvenir program, a newspaper clipping, a lipstick that somehow had been overlooked. Girl, don't pick up that lipstick.
Girl, yeah, that is not for you.
No, but there were only boxes of mundane supplies, aka toilet paper, light bulbs, etc. I climbed down and joined my friends in the middle of the auditorium. Just as I arrived, our guide, out of the blue, said, "You know, this place is very haunted."
Oh.
When they say that.
I love that they wait until you're off the stage.
Off the stage.
Oh, by the way.
You're backstage. With that, all 6 of us were silently compelled to turn back to the stage. Where I had stood, a section of the heavy ceiling-to-floor drape was violently shaking.
No.
We could see the impressions of unseen hands in the velvet as it jerked back and forth hard. We stared in silence until I stammered the classic phrase, "Do you see what I see?" All 5 managed to say yes. I felt tremendous anger from the shaking that someone was telling me I invaded his territory. It was meant to frighten me, and it surely did. I set a new land speed record that day running to the lobby. Poor guy. Our guide then shared that when he first started working for the theater, he discovered secret rooms behind a wall, and this is true.
Stop.
So Sid built salons for private parties after a premiere or the Oscars where he would cater to his famous friends where they could, comfortably celebrate. He hid buzzers near lamps in the lobby to signal people inside to open the secret panel. So sadly, these rooms have long been sealed and all the buzzers disconnected. But for some reason, that didn't matter.
No.
For weeks, our guide heard buzzers in his upstairs office. He thought it was an errant, office intercom. Eventually, he realized it was the buzzers for the secret salons coming from inside the sealed rooms.
Oh, my God.
Naturally, I hope this was the ghost of Sid. After all, he loved this place so much. I asked another employee, "You mean Fritz?" She said, "Fritz, it seems, worked for the theater, so they had another Fritz working there." No one is sure about this particular entity. Apparently despondent, Fritz had hanged himself inside the theater. Since then, his presence has been felt throughout the theater. Everybody knows him, and no one is frightened of him. Oh, and guess where Fritz chose to be dead? Behind the movie screen. I had invaded someone's territory.
Oh, my God. Fritz, why?
So he experienced the ghost of the supposed Fritz. So this is a good, detail explanation of what was inside the theater, how it is right now, and the haunts.
Oh, my God.
So, guys, this is the Chinese theater. Okay, guys, so real quickly, let's go across the street, Bryce, since there is a Starbucks a block away towards Sunset Boulevard. Let's grab a nice coffee, take a quick break, and hop into an Uber to Pasadena Playhouse.
Oh, my God, yes.
Right after this short promo. Psst, Bryce.
Hey, girl.
Do you know what an RSS feed is?
Really smooth Starbucks?
I thought the same thing too, but nope, it's really simple stuff, or according to Wikipedia, it's a really simple syndication.
Right, that's the thing that Blueberry provided us with when we started our podcast.
Yes, let's be real. None of us knew where to start out while creating our podcast in the beginning, and Blueberry helped us out a lot.
I know, they seriously make everything easy for us podcasters.
Blueberry hosting is highly optimized for using WordPress with PowerPress. Blueberry makes publishing your podcast in 3 easy steps.
Step 1, produce your podcast. 2, write your blog post. 3, publish.
It's like a recipe. WordPress plus PowerPress plus Blueberry hosting equals success.
I like that, a recipe.
Hosting with Blueberry also allows you to be in control. Plus, there are no third-party sites to log into, no contracts, so you can cancel anytime. It's optimized for iTunes and creates support for all platforms.
So, if you're browsing for a new hosting site, or if you're planning to start your own podcast, then Blueberry is the perfect place.
Head on over to our website, hollyweirdparanormal.blueberry.net, scroll down our blog post, and click on the Blueberry tab link.
And use our promo code WEIRD if you're interested in receiving a free month by signing up with Blueberry.com.
Free is a good thing. Start creating with Blueberry.com.
All right, but now I am craving Starbucks.
Let's go all drive.
Yes.
All right, guys, welcome to Pasadena. We just took a nice...
Parakeets everywhere.
I know. Parakeets and mountains. That was a nice little Uber ride. That took us 40 minutes. Not bad.
We're broke now. It's fine.
So just to let you know, Pasadena is a sprawling suburb outside of LA, and we make our way towards the infamous Pasadena Playhouse. So it all started in 1917, guys. Brown had a group called the Gilmore Brown Players. And at the time, Pasadena was a small town of farmers and rich vacationers, so the group were performing in old houses and old burlesque houses at the time. So luckily, Pasadena loved their performances so much, as well as their performers, and fans donated a playhouse in 1924.
Damn.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. So at the time, it was known as the Pasadena Community Playhouse, and it was the most advanced theater on the west side of the Mississippi. With all of the success of the group and the city, George Bernard Shaw called Pasadena the Athens of the West. There are more claims of paranormal activity here in this theater than anywhere else. So they claim that Gilmore Brown and another entity seemed to be roaming around the playhouse. But here's the thing. Aside the playhouse, there is a little area next to it called the Carey Hamilton Theater. And the workers feel that this is the creepiest part of the playhouse. So on the 3rd floor is the library/VIP room. This is what used to be Gilmore Brown's office. So there's a rumor he doesn't like it when people are in his desk. They're sitting there. Some people have felt like someone's shaking them out of the chair when you're sitting by his desk.
No.
In addition to this, there's a haunted trash can, apparently.
Well, of course.
It sounds silly, but a couple of paranormal groups have seen this trash can move by itself during investigations. Also, there's a ghost of a cat that is said to be there. So probably it's, Gilmore Brown's cat when he used to have his pet cat with him while watching rehearsals. And there was this little tidbit that Gilmore Brown would bring his cat to dress rehearsals. If the cat turned his back to the stage, that means that the show was shit.
Oh, God.
So he'll look at the cat like, Mr. Bojangles, like, you don't like the show? Then we're going to have to redo this whole thing again.
My eyes could not be rolling further in my head. Just, God, is there any length that producers and directors won't go to, debase actors? God.
I know. I'm going to use my cat as, second in command here.
Sure, go for it. That just shows you where actors are on the totem pole.
Exactly.
Whenever people start getting an attitude, I'm like, good luck. No,
Bye.
you're less than his cat. Meow, meow. Yeah.
So down in the green room, it's reported that rooms number 4 and 6 are haunted. Actors have complained they felt touching when no one's there.
No.
They felt like they were being watched. The lights turn off and on by themselves in these rooms. Down the hall in the shower rooms, no. One performer claimed that someone was touching his hair in the shower.
No me toques. No.
Don't invade my personal space.
Ew.
No, when they touch you,
Not in the shower, ghosts.
take off my earrings. Excuse me? No.
What was that? If you go back to our episode with Katie.
Oh, I respect you. I acknowledge you. Just please respect my space.
Yes.
I say that mantra too.
Yeah.
Even before that episode, every time I would go into a place that has a lot of haunted history, that is a mantra I would always say, like, hey, if you want to communicate with me, you could talk to me, you could show yourself, I'm fine. Do not fucking touch my hair. Do not touch
my hair. Yeah,
hair.
that's the thing. It's like, if you want to dabble, I'm obviously like a little bit more scared, but you do want to just protect yourself, y'all. Like,
yeah, and I always say that, and I have seen things in the corner of my eye. I've seen things I can't explain, but they never touch me. But
nice.
you gotta, lay the law down with
just
them.
like with ex-boyfriends. Don't touch me. Don't touch my
me.
hair.
Don't text me. Thank you. Bye. Yeah, that was the craziest note that I've seen, was like touching his hair in the shower. Ew, no.
That is
dude.
too personal.
Unless you're putting product in my hair, then maybe.
Unless you're the ghost of Rock Hudson, do not touch my hair in the shower. I don't care. No. Oh my god.
Of course, it would be Rock Hudson.
Oh yeah, he can touch whatever he wants.
Like,
It's fine.
Oh, you're like, with your hands.
I'm garbage.
Or the ghost of Heath Ledger. I'm fine.
Oh,
Ooh,
bless. Oh,
Yeah,
miss
I
him.
know. I miss him too.
You can touch my hair.
So down the hall in the wardrobe room, which used to be the costume room, people have said they've seen spirits of women making costumes. I would like to say no, because if you've seen workers in a costume shop, they look like an extra from Fear the Walking Dead or something.
They do, yes.
They have been working many hours. Let me tell you my experiences. Like, yeah. I mean, there have been times where it's like, I sew this and finish this costume where I actually sleep. I think I'm going to finish sewing it. Yeah. So I do look like I'm a missing, extra from Night of the Living Dead or something.
I love it. Oh my god.
I would have to kind of discredit that. So there is also this interesting story about a young carpenter who was a graduate student from a nearby university, and he was by himself in the theater striking what was left over on set. And there was this large piece of wood that he had a tough time moving out of the theater. So mind you, he is by himself in this building. And he was struggling to carry out this piece. And at one point, he felt as though someone was behind him. Before he can stop and turn around, he felt the weight of the wood lighten more. And he heard what sounded like footsteps behind him. And he booked it out of it. He just dropped everything. He booked it out of the theater. He waited to see if there was someone following him. So he waited outside and waited outside. He called his boss. He's like, hey, are you here? Is anyone in the theater? The boss said, no, you were the only one that I had given the extra keys to. No one should be there besides you. So he soon realized this guy's like, he immediately collects himself. He's like, wait, hold on. Homeboy Ghost was helping me move this huge board. Should I leave and be scared, or should I ask him to help me move the rest of the set? I'm going to lean towards to help me move the rest of the set. So he goes back in. He was like, hey, like, it's cool that you're here. Thank you for helping me, but can you, like, tone it down a bit? So supposedly there's this helpful ghost in the theater that helps the tech guys.
That's sweet.
Move things in and around.
Oh my god, I hate that, but that's so sweet. Oh god. Oof.
Another claim too is the spirit of George Reeves.
Oh wow.
As we discussed in episode, I think it was 3.
Yes.
Which is the OG Superman. So George Reeves was a huge actor in the Pasadena Playhouse. This is where he started. And he was very precocious on movie sets than he was like in theater. So people believe that he's the precocious ghost in these rooms, moving things around, touching people, especially the women. He was a bit of a womanizer.
George.
So that is another speculation that he might be like the cause of all like the precociousness that is occurring there, the mischievous doings of this invisible entity. I know, as bad as it sounds.
George, no.
No, Jorge, no. All right, guys. So that concludes our tour of famous haunted Hollywood theaters. Let us know if you have a couple of haunts of your own. Please send them our way at hollyweirdparanormal@gmail.com.
You can hear me really freak out.
Yeah. The Trail of Tears. Never forget,
so
Jonathan. Also, we have some spiritual bays of the week that we want to definitely give a shout out to. So the first one, this is a really great group of guys, the More Gooder podcast. It's a weekly podcast in which they rate and dissect pop culture one argument at a time. Chris, Donnie, and Corey will each take a stance on a movie, actor, character, episode, or whatever else they feel like defending and try to determine whose side is the most goodest. After the hilarity concludes, hopefully they'll both have entertained and educate their listeners with their opinions at least. The second one is the Sinisterhood podcast. And the Sinister is made up of 3 comedians, Darcy, Christy, and Heather. These Khaleesi's are fascinated by the world of true crime, cults, and creeps. They're new and pretty dope. Go definitely check them out, guys. They're really cool, and they're really visible on Instagram. I've been chatting with them. They're really, really awesome.
Cool.
They've also given us a little shout out, too.
They're so sweet.
They are very, very sweet. Hi. So guys, if you love Hollyweird Paranormal, we'd love for you to subscribe, rate, and give us a review on Apple Podcasts. It really helps us out a lot. It helps us become a little more visible. You can definitely find us at Hollyweird Paranormal on Facebook and Instagram. And if you want to stalk us on Twitter, we're at HWP Podcast. And if you want to send us a little hello, personal hello, and what's up, you can find us at hollyweirdparanormal@gmail.com. So we have a very special package coming in a couple of days, guys. We have a very cool package. It's from Paranormal Supplies. Find them on Instagram. Stalk them, please. Especially if you're a future ghost hunter or if you want to dabble in that art. They're amazing. They're going to send us 2 surprises.
Oh my God.
You definitely want to follow us on Instagram and Facebook and Twitter. I'm not just saying that just so we could get like the follows, guys, because we're not. No. Like, you have no idea the goodness that is coming to us.
Yeah.
Bryce is a little afraid.
It's about to get real. Real scary.
But I've been talking to Tim from Paranormal Supplies, and we're going to have a drawing soon of this one amazing thing that he's giving us. I'm a little scared, but it's really cool.
Yes.
So tune in to our next episode. I think we're going to be doing the true crime and paranormal aftermath of... I don't know.
I was like, oh, I'm excited to hear.
I'm confused. I'm kind of torn. Between 2 people right now. So you're going to have to follow us, guys, to find that out.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Much love. And always remember to stay weird. Never be basic. Stay weird.
Yes.
Yes. Bryce, you want to say anything?
Bye.
Bye. Don't stay by yourself in a theater. Bye.
Oh, real.
Bye, guys.